Hello everyone, this is Varun Bansal and today we are starting with a new cloud series where we'll be discussing about what are the basics of cloud computing and some of the famous DevOps methodological tools like Kubernetes and why should one learn all of these things. We'll discuss in this upcoming series of podcast or sessions. So let's begin with our first session of today. So today we are going to talk about what exactly is cloud computing and why is industry so crazy about cloud computing? Why is it a buzzword these days? So without any further delay, let's start with the session. Let me just share my screen. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to each and every one of you present here. And without any further delay, I'll start up with my session. Okay, so let me start with the slideshow. Yeah, so today's session is about cloud computing. Now, let's talk about what is cloud computing. You might be no need to be an expert or something. This is just a very basic session. We'll be talking about from very scratch, and each and everything will be covered, whichever is required to get started or know about this technology and why is it used in industry so much. So let's begin. Now you must be amazed. Like, what is this cloud computing? This word must be something that can computers fly now? No need to worry about. We'll look into it. What is it in the upcoming slides? So let's move over to the next slide. So in the basic, in the most simple definition or the most simple explanation which I could bring to you is that cloud computing in layman term is nothing just accessing computing resources over internet. This is the thing which can define the cloud computing in the most basic manner. Now let's go ahead and look into further into this cloud computing. And yes, you can also think of a cloud computing is as simple as you are renting a car from some car dealer, and in cloud computing you are just renting the resources, compute resources from the cloud providers. I'm sorry. Now let's talk about some features of the cloud. What exactly are the features of the cloud? Why we are using the cloud and how is it different from other things? So here is a list of some features. Don't get overwhelmed by seeing so many bullet pointers. No problem. We'll discuss each and every one in detail, and we'll keep the content very short and crisp. But we'll cover each and everything, so nothing to worry about. So what is the features of cloud and why is it being used by industries so much? The first and the foremost thing is no upfront cost. To understand this thing, let us first go to the history, like how are things being used in the industry. So you know that there are many things related to computer. Let it be web application, whether it be mobile application, machine learning application, or any other application. Each and every application needs some kind of resources. Basically, there is some kind of code behind each and every application, and that has been deployed on some kind of computer, so-called server. So now, whenever a client visit to that server, it required a certain amount of CPU, or it requires a certain amount of storage for that, for accessing the resource, for accessing the website or web application or mobile application or any other application. So for providing that resource, a company has to bring up, they need to set up a computer, so-called server. And now what happens is, like before cloud computing, what was the scenario? Like if you are a startup, you bought some machine with let's say 8 GBs of RAM and let's say 8 core of CPU. And right now your traffic might not be so much that it is consuming your resources to the fullest. So it might be a a bad investment, or you can say your resources are not being used for in at their full scale. So that can create a great financial expenditure to the companies to maintain the data centers and to set up the data center. We have taken an example of very short thing. So that is the thing which is being signified in the point one: no upfront cost. If you want to start any company, if you want to host any application, website, or anything, you don't need to go physically buy anything at a very high cost and then they are not being used at such a full scale. What you can do is just go to the cloud service provider, let's say Microsoft Azure, and you just rent a computer. Rent a computer with the specification whatsoever you think that would be appropriate for your client and the base, your customer base, and you're sorted. You don't need to bring something which needs to be upgraded, pay again and again, and do some kind of heavy investment. Just think about MNCs. They are running so many things. They need data centers. In many movies we have seen that racks and racks of storage and all those things, they need it at a grand scale, which creates a havoc, and they need to pay very heavy cost for it. So no need to do no need to invest so much of amount. When cloud computing is there, you can just go over to the cloud service providers. They've already set up the things. You can just go, just pay them for the things you are using, and we are good to go. Now next thing, hassle free service. Like if you are having your own data centers, there are many things you need to worry about. You need to worry about the networks, you need to worry about the storage, electricity, the maintenance, the cleanliness, and each and everything for the good availability of your devices. But in cloud computing, you don't have to worry about anything. How the electricity is being provided, how they are being maintained, what is the status of cleanliness or something, or how are networks being managed, what is the system upgradation cost, and each and everything. You don't have to worry about that. Just focus on your own development, own website or application or any other product development. Third most important thing, for any of the technology to be used and catered by industry or anyone, it must be secure. And cloud computing is highly secure. The cloud providers provide the service level agreement, which tells us that your resources are going to be completely secure. No one can access them until and unless you want someone to access it. They have so high level of security with n number of security features and services provided, which the user or the organization can use. Fourth important point, no need of maintenance. I think we have already covered it in the point number 2. Similar, we don't have to maintain anything for generators for electricity, or network cables or anything. We are not responsible for any kind of maintenance. It is solely the responsibility of the cloud provider, which is providing us the service, and we are paying for it. The one another thing, it is highly available. What I mean by highly available, suppose I am sitting in India right now. I want that I have created some application for American customers to use. Now if I'll host that application in India, it is going to be slow. It's going to load slow because there is a huge distance, the data traveling so much distance. It might create a bad impression on my customers. There might be a latency in the my site website going there, or data packets going there, or the response which they are getting from the servers might be quite delayed. So now for me it's going to be very heavy that I go to America and set up some kind of data center, maintain it, or do something. No. What I can do, I can come to cloud, Microsoft Azure. I want to host a server in, let's say, US. So it will tell you, no problem, you want to host it. I have made a certain zones. Just pick which zone do you want to host. Let's say you want to host in the south one, or east region, or mid region of US, and you're sorted. You can easily, within few clicks, you'll be able to do it. We'll just see the demo as well in the upcoming sessions. Now let's come to the next point. What do you mean by elasticity? Elasticity refers to, suppose your application is there now, let's say your organization has grown to a good level of scale. Now there are n number of customers, and your server which you have hosted is now it is not able to handle too much of load. You want to scale your application, you want there are many servers, so that the load can be reduced from one, and there is a good amount of resources, so the customer also comes and do not get bad quality services. The website is also loading good. There is proper response of each and every service request coming to the computers or servers. In that case, cloud computing provides n number of features. It provides load balancing services, cloud native applications like Kubernetes or containers or something, which can help you with the same. You can scale up your application. You can replicate your, the servers with a very high speed, and you can provide it within no time, and your customers would also not be affected. Now let's talk about some few points. Like, it increases the speed. First of all, the speed of transmission of your data to the end user is also very fast, and it also increases your speed in the sense like you're developing an application and now you want to bring some kind of changes or you want to develop some kind of features and you want to deliver it to your customers fast. So with the cloud computing you can do it really very quick. You can just develop the things and deploy it very quick without any hassle, and then maintain it and do all kind of testing, development, staging things in the cloud computing. Don't get overwhelmed with the terms and technologies being used here. Just try to get the crux and you'll be all good. With the time you'll just get comfortable. Now let's talk about performance. Cloud computing provides us with the resources which are highly compatible. Your performance is not hindered at all. You can set up that if the usage of my CPU due to the load is greater than 60% or 80%, let's say 80%, 5 minutes, just it will automatically initialize another machine or another server would be a great term to describe. It will automatically come up with another server with the same website and all those data. No human intervention, no delay, no manual effort. Everything is automatic and it's really very fast. Everyone can use it within few clicks, and not even clicks. The thing has been automated and it has been done. And let's say at the daytime the load on the server was very high, so it was automatically scale up. It will automatically bring up with some few more servers, and at the night time the load went down. So what it will do, it will just shut down this extra servers which were spin up during the daytime. So it will increase your performance and the customer service which you are providing. Next, it helps us in productivity in the sense for developing any kind of application. The time is reduced by very much. Like if we have our own data centers or own things, there are steps of process. Like a developer will write the code, the tester will test it, then the things will go to the operations team. They will check it, they will put it on the staging, they will put it on the production environment, and it's a long process. But with the cloud computing and other technologies, you can integrate all the teams together, and you can just do the things at really very fast point, at very fast pace. For example, you can use Azure DevOps to do all the things only at one place, and you are sorted for each and everything. Next, let's go to reliability. Again, this is one of the most important thing, that any technology to be used by industry or by anyone, it must be highly reliable. You cannot be like you have hosted it and it is not reliable, that sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. So it is not the case. The companies or the cloud providers provides us with very high percentage of service level agreement, like 99.9999%, that they are highly reliable, secure. So we need not to worry about any kind of things which uh, which can hamper our organization's reputation or anything. So we are very good to go. So these are some of the features of cloud. So now let's move to the next slide. I would like to bring your focus to one of the most important feature of cloud computing. Why is it different from on-premise data centers? The answer is pay-as-you-go model. Suppose if I am a startup, I want to host a server. I just don't need to pay everything in advance. No, or I don't have to pay the bill of 1 year in advance or something like that. No, I can pay everything in the amount how much I have used today and how much I'm going to use in this month. That's the only thing I have to pay. The billing is done on per second basis, even. For per second, I have to pay, not for per year or something. If I have used this thing for only 5 seconds, I will have to pay only for 5 seconds for that thing. So that's a very, very great advantage, which makes it, very effective and cost worthy for organizations, startup, newcomers, existing ones. It reduces their financial load by a huge factor. So that's one of the biggest factor why cloud computing is being used so much. So now let's move to next slide and discuss about what are the few types of cloud computing. Cloud computing, I think you got familiar. Like it's like renting the resources. They're not available to you at the moment. They are not available to you in the physical sense. They are located in somewhere data centers, and you can access them over internet. Okay, so now let's look towards several kinds of cloud computing types. So the major types of cloud computings are public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. No problem. Let's discuss about what are these three kinds of cloud computing types. So let's discuss about the first type, the public cloud. Now, what is this public cloud? Public cloud is nothing but you are accessing the resources of a public, or of a cloud provider which is available for all. Like for example, Microsoft Azure is a very good example of public cloud. Anyone and everyone can use it just by going to their website, signing up, and do some kind of formalities, and you're good to go. You are authorizing Microsoft on your behalf that we want to. Microsoft is providing you with the resources, and you are asking Microsoft to provide you with the resources. That's all in public cloud. So now let's move to the private cloud. What exactly private cloud is? Now this is a very interesting concept. Try to understand. Suppose I am representing government of India, and we want to store some top notch, top secret information. We cannot just go and rely we cannot rely on some private companies or some other companies. We want that our data is really very very secure, and it's really very very essential and important for us. The security issue or anything, we cannot rely on anybody else. We want each and everything to be in our control, and we want to operate it by our own means. So what we can do is we can just set up our own data center at some place wheresoever we want to, and then we can use it. No one else can use that data center. Only my organization or a particular organization would be able to use that data center. It is mostly used when there are some security concern or something like that, or we want more flexibility in managing that data center. Okay, so now let's come to the third, and again a very famous type of cloud computing type. Like this is hybrid cloud model. What is this hybrid cloud? Now this is the amalgamation or the mixture of public and private cloud. Suppose there is a company which wants that there are few parts on which they want full control and want that to be very very secure, and there are some parts that the company don't want to invest much, so they can just go and use other services which company is okay that okay, I don't want many security or something or many control over these services. I can just go and use these many services like hosting a website or something or like that on Microsoft, and keeping let's say the username, ID, password, and all those things in my own private cloud. So by mixing both these cloud types, I have created a hybrid cloud computing model. So it is also a very famous model for the companies who wants the data to be flexible as well as highly available by using the public cloud and private cloud. So now let's move to the next slide and discuss about what are the various cloud computing services. Please note the point that in the last slide we talked about some types. I have highlighted this in orange, and now we are discussing about the cloud computing services. Like I have highlighted this one as well with the orange color. So this is nothing, just to keep you updated that these are the services and that are the types of cloud computing model. So now let's talk about infrastructure as a service. What is this IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS? Now, IaaS, or you can pronounce this as you wish. Like infrastructure, it is pronounced. The full form of this IaaS is infrastructure as a service. What is this infrastructure as a service? So let me take you through it. In infrastructure as a service, you go to the cloud computing platform like let's say Microsoft Azure, and you ask for raw compute resources in the terms like you go there and you just tell them that I want 2 GBs of RAM and I want 4 cores of CPU. You just provide that co- you just provide me with that computer to me. So it is in the raw form. Now you are solemnly responsible for operating system, for any kind of applications you install, for its maintenance, for its security. Maintenance in the sense updates, security updates, operations, security patches, operating system updates, vulnerabilities, etc., etc. Okay, you the by you I means the user is responsible. The cloud provider is only and only responsible for its availability, and that instance don't shut down until and unless you want. That's the key takeaway that the cloud providers will provide. Now let's talk about platform as a service. What is this platform as a service? Platform as a service is a kind of service type which is being provided by cloud providers, in which the user don't have to worry about the hardware part or the server part, I would say. Like, I just want to go, I will go and I will use a particular service, let's say database service. So now it's not my responsibility to install that database service, to keep an eye on that database service, whether it's up to date, whether the operating system is latest or not, whether the security patches are updated or not. It is completely done by cloud providers, as well as the the availability of the machines and servers is also taken care by cloud providers. Now let's come to the software as a service. What is this software as a service? Software as a service is a thing in which the user is neither the user is responsible for the look over of the raw infrastructure, neither it is responsible for any kind of operating systems or application installment, security patches, anything. Neither they are required to develop. They will just go use the things and they are sorted. They have nothing to deal with the maintenance, development, testing, or production, anything. For example, I'll give a very basic example which will make all these things really very clear in your mind. For, let's say, you want to store some kind of data, and to store some kind of data you want a database. For example, let's say MySQL. So now one way is that you go to Microsoft, you ask for Microsoft, just spin up a virtual machine, which is the infrastructure, raw infrastructure, provide 2 GBs of CPU and 4 cores of 2 GBs of RAM and 4 cores of CPU. And now you will go there, you will install, you will tell Microsoft that I want Windows, or I want Linux based Ubuntu, Debian based something, or I want Red Hat Linux, or Mac OS, or whatsoever the operating system is. And now you will only be responsible for installing MySQL, operating it, managing it, you know doing each and everything, storing the things, running the queries, everything is done by you. So this is infrastructure as a service. Now let's take a look at the different scenario. What you can do is, for storing your data, you go to Microsoft, you ask for MySQL supported. You ask for MySQL support, which is being provided by Microsoft Azure. Now what you can do, you can just directly go connect your instances with your application and just start storing your data. You don't have to maintain, you don't have to spin up the virtual machine, you don't have to ask for 2 GBs of RAM or 4 cores of CPU or anything. Neither you need to, uh, neither you need to, responsible for that installing updation or anything. You can just directly go and just start storing the data. Everything will be taken care by Microsoft Azure or the cloud provider you are using. And now let's take a look at software as a service. The most simple example I could give you of this software as a service is, let's say, your email services. Email services are also using the database at the backend, but you don't know where they are storing or how they are storing, how the things are working, how the data is being transferred, how it is being inserted, how it is being updated or deleted. You just go and use the services. Like, you just go to your Microsoft account, log in into it, and you just check your mails and all those things. That's all. That's all. You're not responsible for any of the database servers or whatsoever service the provider is working on. So that's the thing. I hope I was able to clear all these things what I wanted to. So now let's move to the one of the most important and last topic of our today's discussion. What are the uses of cloud computing? Where can I use cloud computing? So these are some of the bullet points which I have prepared to give you the gist that cloud computing can literally be used at anything you want to do. You name the thing you want to do and it will be available on cloud computing. For example, you want to develop or build any kind of application. By any kind, you can understand any kind of application, whether it be website or mobile application or any other kind of application, any other kind of web app or machine learning embedded app, or microservices architecture, or containers, or Kubernetes, or cloud native architecture. Everything will be available at a very minimal and a reasonable cost. You can just go there without any hassle. You can just directly go and start working and learning on it. Second, you can use cloud computing to store, backup, and recover data. I'm 100% sure that most of us who are watching this stream right now would have used this service by any means. Like, we almost each and everyone uses cloud computing. In this, we store our photos online, you know, which can be used or which can be retrieved on various devices wherever our ID is logged in. We have also used Gmail services, which is again, storing our mails and all those things at the back end in the cloud only. Analyzing data. Now, what do you mean by analyzing data? Just try to think, like, there are some big organizations, like let's say WhatsApp or Facebook. They are having data in such a huge amount that if they start investing the amount in their own data centers, they would have to spend they would spend millions and billions of dollars in just storing the data. Okay. And to analyze the data, they would have to put the additional cost, etc., etc. So it would be a great financial load for the companies, so no one wants. And and also those things might not be so much effective, sorry. So what you can do is, you can just store your data in your data warehouse or data lakes, or many more things, data hubs, where you can easily store your big size, your huge size data, and can perform the transactional queries, analytical queries, and retrieve the data as per the demand and in hassle-free fashion. Now, another example of uses of cloud computing is streaming audio and video. So I would like to give you an example. Like, everyone must be familiar with Disney Plus Hotstar. It is a popular app in India as well worldwide. So it is completely based on cloud, and what it do is, another famous example is Netflix. Netflix is also based completely on cloud. They are storing each and everything on the cloud. They are using the cloud services for their audio and video providing as well. For audio, like for different devices, we need different formats of audio, right? For let's say iPhone, I need a .mov file. For Android, I need .mp4 files and all those things. So uh, cloud services are being used at the backend to convert the file type from one type to another and deliver it to the end user. One of the important feature which is being provided by cloud is embedded intelligence. Like, suppose if you want to do some kind of machine learning or artificial intelligence thing, let's take an example of artificial intelligence. You want to embed a system which just dictates whatsoever is written on your, let's say, website. You want to develop such an application that you provide anything, and you want that computer just dictates all the things. So what you can, if you start developing the application from very scratch, it's going to take lots of efforts and time. What you can do is, there are predefined templates and pre-created things which are highly available on cloud. You can just come, use them, and make your applications, develop them in fast fashion, and also having a great feature. I hope now we are able to link the chains which we have looked over in the last few slides. So now let's come to our last point: deliver software on demand. So let me tell you that this is one of the major factor, and most of the companies worldwide are using cloud for developing their softwares or their services, and provide them to different things, different you know areas of the globe. And it's just humongous. Like, for example, I would like to give you an example. Many a times you must have uh, used some kind of labs for practicing anything. For, let's say, Linux, you must have practiced Linux, or you must have hosted your website on some applications like Sandbox, etc., etc. So what they do, as soon as you click on launch a workspace or playground or something, they just use the cloud computing on backend. They are just taking your data, whatsoever command you are typing there, they are just taking it on the cloud, and then everything is being done. So it is a software that has been created by someone to deliver the content to you by the help of cloud computing. So I hope I was able to make sense to each and everyone by in explaining all those things. And I would highly suggest that please visit to this Microsoft Azure website, which I have listed here. This is Azure portal. Like, this has been listed, written here, Azure portal. So you can just go there, get your hands dirty with cloud computing, and explore the various services which have been provided by Microsoft and its cloud provider, that is Azure. And you can also apply for free credits. Microsoft provides you with some free credits if you're a student, and also they will provide you with 1 year of free service as soon as you'll sign up. So it's a great thing. You don't have to pay anything for learning, and there is also great resources to learn about the cloud computing. Microsoft has created their own, so you can just go there and you can use it. And obviously, For any kind of queries or anything, you can feel free to connect with me. This is my LinkedIn handle, linkedin.com/in/varunb_01. And obviously, this is my Twitter handle. If you have any queries, you can connect with me, and I would be more than happy to help you. So that marks the end of my presentation. If you have any quick queries you would like to ask, kindly put them into the chat section. Yeah, let me stop my screen. So I think I was able to explain each and everything to you, and every I tried my possible to explain each and everything in detail and keep the content in short and crisp fashion. So if there is anything left you want to learn or anything else, you can connect with me on the things which I have shown, and I would be happy to again tell and have a healthy discussion on the topics. So that's all for today. You can just come, take a watch on different things if you didn't got it, and stay tuned for other parts or other podcasts which we are going to do in this cloud series. Thank you. This is Varun Bansal signing off for today. Bye bye.